Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you all? I hope you're having a lovely day. We're going to be talking about re-establishing routines really briefly today and how we can use the concept of the refresh framework to support children as they come back into our settings, into our activities, and just really making sure that not only do our children have the capacity to learn and engage, but that we also have the cognitive capacity to support them, because it's a bit of a gear change, isn't it, when we're coming back in. So let's really delve into what this framework looks like, how we can support each other with this, and how we can get our children settled in. Okay, so first of all, let's just have a think about the initial getting back to business. And whenever we start to prepare ourselves for returning to work, returning to our setting, to school, we've had some time to get back to it. You know, we might have done some planning, we might have been thinking about it, we might have washed the clothes that we want to wear, we might have even come into school or come into the setting to sort things out. So we've had a few thoughts beforehand, but often our children's first thought is the day of school, or maybe the day before. They don't have as much time to prepare emotionally and mentally and physically in some cases in order to be ready for our shift in gear when it comes to rules and routines and things like that. So for us as adults, for us as providers and educators, what can we be doing to make sure that this is a smooth transition back in to our settings and our sessions and our environments? First of all, is let's check in with what works, what doesn't work, the framework that we've put in place, or the strategies that we've been using, I guess the scaffolding to our sessions and our learning environments. So thinking about any behavior support that has worked, it might be, you know, looking at your balance zone, it might be checking in with your baskets, it might be looking at different talk partners or teams that you've been working with, it might be thinking about different resources that have worked or haven't worked. So here we're really thinking about your classroom management if you're an educator, or your setup if you're a provider, and just thinking what has been working really well and what hasn't been working really well. Maybe you have still found yourself picking up after the children when actually the idea was that we had monitors for that, or leaders for that. It might be that you're finding that at the end of the day you're having to take the visual timetable down, and again, that's not working for you, it's a waste of your time. Maybe you could get someone in your classroom to do that. You're, you know, set up a monitor system, have some sort of collaboration with your class there. And then thinking about what have been the biggest challenges. So they might be in terms of emotional regulation and behavior, they might be in terms of learning, they might be in terms of engagement. What is it that have been the biggest challenges that you have found in your classroom or in your setting or in your sessions, and how can you navigate them? And then finally, what systems are in place for these things? If we need new systems, let's get that done before the children walk through the door. Let's have a plan. Let's jot down the systems that we want. You can absolutely lean into your behavior bank for systems. We love a system for the toolkits. What is it that's already in place? What needs to be in place? And how are you going to make that change? Now, it can be really difficult to, you know, to have these questions and to think about these things, because we are reflecting on our own practice here. We're reflecting on scenarios and situations that might have happened previously, and we want to make sure that we are constantly checking in with these. It might be that we have had a half term or an end of term and we're coming back to it. It might just be a Monday morning. You're watching this or on a Sunday and you're thinking, right, tomorrow morning, I'm getting my routines back in place. I'm making sure that we're working on this together. The truth is there is always an opportunity to come back round, to circle back round, to know what is working, what isn't working, and always to get something else in place, because we don't want to be waiting until the end of term if something has come up before then in order to make change. Best time is always now. So why is it really important to keep re-establishing and practicing routines? Now, when we think about our routines, everything we do is about practice. It's about having clarity. We have routines built within our day constantly. If you're thinking about at home, you know, we have our brushing our teeth routine, we have getting dressed routines, we have bedtime routines, morning routines. Everything we do on a daily basis becomes part of the wider routine that we have. So really here we're looking at keeping consistency and practicing those routines, because what we practice we make progress in. And if we are wanting children to line up in a particular way, tidy up in a particular way, transition in a particular way, go home in a particular way, engage in a particular way, we need to build and re-establish and constantly have that consistency and practice around those routines. That is how they become habits. That is how the children are going to get better and better at them. And of course, there will be times where children just don't want to do it, because we all have those days where we, you know, even as grown-ups, sometimes we'll rock up to work and be like, oh, just don't want to today, you know. Not me, because I love what I do. And I hope you feel like that too, guys. I really do. I hope you all love what you do so much as well, because honestly, it's so important, all of the hard work that you put in. But there are still days, even when we love what we do, all jokes aside, where we just aren't feeling it. The vibe isn't right. And our young people have that exact same experience, except we have more control. If we want to kind of, you know, take it a bit of a slower pace, or, you know, try something different, tweak our lesson plan so that we are more child-led in that session, or if we want to try a different game, and you know, we have the power to do that, whereas our young people and our children do not. So it is about making sure that we allow some grace for them when it comes to those times and those days. So how do we do this? How do we bring in our routines? How do we support our children in getting the hang of it, in making progress with it, in moving forwards with it? Well, there are 4 core things to keep in mind here. First of all, we need to reteach them. It doesn't matter where we are in the term, in the year, in the day. We do need to reteach them, because there is so much that our children and young people are going through on a daily basis with their, you know, development, with what's going on emotionally, socially, all of the things. Sometimes we simply just forget, you know, we just forget what our young people are managing over the time that they are with us, and we just need to remind them and ourselves of this and go over it with them. So reteach the steps, get them to show you what it looks like when they do it, you know, in the way that it quote unquote should be done. Get them to show you what it looks like when it quote unquote shouldn't be done in that way, or, you know, is done wrongly. Get them to tell you, get them to tell each other, get them to freeze frame it, get them to draw it, get them to make it. My goodness, there are so many ways that we can get our children involved in this reteaching process. It really is such an activity in itself. And it doesn't need to take long. It can be literally a few minutes before the activity, before they do. Oh, we're going to line up now, children. Now, are we going to line up like this? Are we going to line up like this? Are we going to line up like this? Which one? 1, 2, or 3? Show me on your fingers. Vote for it. Okay, so we're really getting them engaged. We're getting them involved. What does it look like? Turn to your partner and tell them how you're going to line up. You know, we don't want them to tell each other how they have to line up, but we want them to tell their partner what they are going to do in order to be successful in this. Practice them, practice them, practice them, and think of every time as a practice rather than a you've got it wrong. It's always a practice. Everything in life is practice. We're constantly getting better. We're constantly moving forwards. We are constantly making progress. And then gamify. As I said before, get them involved, get them voting. Can they fill in the missing word in your sentence? Oh, I am going to, as I get in the line, going to walk as I get in the line. I am going to pick the rubbish up off the floor and put it in the bin. I am going to pass the books along the line. Slowly, carefully. Oh, lots of words there. We could make a word bank of all the lovely adjectives as to how we're going to do that, or all the lovely adverbs. And when we start to think about how we're going to gamify, we can really divert from physical games to word games to paired activities to group activities. We can use a whole host of different things. We can get them to share with us, to share with each other in a wide range of ways. We can use timers. We can, play. I'm not a huge fan of competition. I've just seen someone share that there. I'm not a huge fan of having it as a competition against each other. But I do think that there is an element of, we can have a bit of competition every now and again. We do want to try and have collaboration over competition, but as the old saying goes, of competition breeding excellence. We do also want that, but we generally want that competition to be, I did it this way last time, can I get better? Can I do it better? So self-competition, is that okay? But yes, absolutely. Whatever you think is going to engage, but also keep connection at the same time. And then check in with them. How do they think that went? What do they think were really great aspects of that lining up, or that tidying away the balls, or that, that coming down to the carpet, or putting the books away, whatever it is. What did they think went well, and what did they think could be better next time when they're competing against themselves as a class? They're going to be better all together next time, right? So thinking about that, thinking about what that looks like for the next time around, is really important. And then finally, when is this going to happen? Now is always the best time. It really is. When we are thinking about our children, when we are thinking about how we're going to support them, and we are thinking about the best way to engage our children, it's always now. Don't wait until things are really coming apart at the seams, for want of a better phrase, or really challenging, or you're feeling more stressed out. Sometimes we prevent, or we kick it down the road, kick the can down the road a little bit, because we can manage it in that moment. We're fine. Our emotional regulation is all good. But then, because we didn't address it, because we didn't put the support in, because we didn't aid the structure there, when it does start to come apart, when it does start to crumble later down the line, normally later in the day or in the week, isn't it, guys? Absolutely. Yeah, Friday afternoons. Yes, absolutely. we have less capacity. So we aren't able to emotionally hold space in the way that we can. So always now, always when you feel like it's just starting to wobble, catch it before it goes. And just a real reminder of our fresh framework here, because it really is about re-establishing routines, explaining those expectations, making it fun, resetting your mindset. It might even be that you have got into the habit of thinking particular thoughts about particular things or particular children, engaging the children in any changes that need to be made, creating a safe space and environment emotionally and physically for everyone who is taking part, and then of course highlighting the wins. It really is so important to have that refresh framework in place at any given time, because the time is always now. Now, I hope this has been useful. I hope that you are able to bring all these things to life, to put this all in place, to give it a go, and to start to check in with your systems, so that you can take that refreshing step into the classroom or into the session that you're about to go into, whatever you are about to do next. Good luck with it. I hope this was useful. And remember, guys, practice does make progress. So for those of you who are with me live right now, I'm going to stop the recording. We're going to take some questions. For those of you who have watched this on catch up, it's only a brief one. It was a short one. If you have any questions, please do get in touch, and please do use all of our TBBS support material. When it comes to building routines, there are some bite-sized clips as well as some downloadables. So do get all of the support material in place so that you're ready to take the next step.